What if we could turn that moment of staring at a blank page into a genuine, creative adventure for our kids? Well, today we're going to dive into Storylane, a platform that's all about sparking that imagination and helping a new generation of storytellers find their voice.
First things first, let's talk about a challenge that I'm pretty sure many of us, whether we're parents or educators, have seen up close.
You know the scene, right? That blank page, the blinking cursor, and a kid who just has no idea where to even start. It can be so frustrating for them, and honestly for us too.
And look, this is incredibly common. It's not just one thing either. It could be a simple, I don't have any ideas, or a genuine fear of making mistakes. Or sometimes it's just the tricky part of trying to get all those jumbled thoughts organized. These are real challenges that can make writing feel like a total chore.
So, why is getting over this hump so important? Well, because storytelling, as you know, is about so much more than just stringing words together.
I mean, look at this. Story writing is an absolute powerhouse for a child's development. We're talking about enhancing creativity, improving language skills, and even fostering emotional intelligence. It builds confidence and, you guessed it, often encourages a lifelong love of reading. It's not just a school skill, it's a life skill.
Okay, so with all that in mind, this is where Storylane enters the picture. It's built from the ground up to be a simple, fun, and really accessible solution to those writing challenges we just talked about.
And getting started couldn't be easier. It's really just 3 simple steps. First, your child picks a storybook that catches their eye. Then, you sign up to unlock all the cool creative tools. And finally, the best part, they get to write, voice, and publish their very own book.
All right, so let's walk through that journey. How does Storylane actually guide a child from that very first little spark of an idea all the way to a finished story?
We all know that every amazing story, every wild adventure, starts with that little what-if moment. But sometimes, finding that spark is the hardest part of all.
Storylane tackles this problem head-on. The platform has this huge library that's just brimming with inspiration. Not just story starters to get the juices flowing, but also a ton of completed books for kids to read and get lost in.
And the variety is just fantastic. Seriously, whether your kid loves stories about animals, mythology, or goofy comedies, there's something there to get them excited. It makes the whole process feel personal right from the get-go.
Okay, so you've got an idea buzzing. But now comes the next potential hurdle, right? What about the actual physical act of writing? For a lot of kids, typing or handwriting can really slow down that creative momentum.
Now this is where things get really cool. Just imagine for a second. What if your child could write their story just by talking? What if it was that simple?
Well, they can. Storylane has this incredible voice-to-text feature. It lets kids narrate their story out loud, and the technology instantly turns their spoken words into text right there on the screen. It just completely removes that friction between their imagination and the page.
And that's the real magic of it. They can just speak their story and watch the words appear. The physical barrier is gone. This lets the narrative just flow naturally, making the whole thing smoother and, let's be honest, way more fun.
But the journey doesn't stop once the story's finished. There's one more amazing step that gives kids this huge, tangible sense of accomplishment.
You see, their creation doesn't just have to live on a screen. They can publish it as a real, beautiful hardcover or paperback book, something they can actually hold. Or they can create an awesome digital ebook, complete with audio narration and cool animations, which is perfect for sharing with family and friends anywhere.
And that is what this is all about. When a child finishes a story on Storylane, they don't just feel like a kid who wrote something. They feel like a published author. And that feeling, that's an incredible confidence booster.
So it really all comes down to this. Every kid has this whole world inside their imagination, just bursting with characters and ideas. The only real question is, what story is your child waiting to tell? Storylane might just be the perfect way to help them find out.